I don't know that there was one movie in particular. There are several that are standouts. Of course, people of my era, loved Planet of the Apes. My dad had also shown me King Kong, so those were two biggies. But my dad was also kind of, thank God he was one of those irresponsible parents who showed me movies like Black Friday with Boris Karloff and Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte and all the stuff that I was way too young to see back then, and so I was forever warped. Stan Winston was the first boss I worked for that had the perfect kind of recipe for success. I'd worked for a lot of people who were very talented and gifted people, but they didn't necessarily have organizational skills, people skills, communication skills, etc. And Stan was a guy who would say things to you like, when it was quitting time, he'd say, "Why are you still here?" And you'd go, "Well, like, because I just, you just keep working until you drop dead, right?" And he said, "No, no, no, go home. I need you rested. Because if you're dead tired tomorrow, you're of no use to me, right?" And then he had the sense of humor also, where he would say like, "Yeah, go make me look good, so that I can continue making much, much more money than you," right? So he was just a great. He was a total package, and Tom and I have tried to maintain that kind of spirit in running ADI, where you have to have fun with it. In order to do great work, you have to be enjoying yourself, I think. Some people have a different recipe, but that's our recipe. Oh, in Aliens, my favorite scene to work on in Aliens, that's tough because my favorite creature that Giger designed was the facehugger, and I got to sculpt and create the facehuggers for Aliens. But I have to say that working with Lance Henriksen on the Bishop effects was probably the standout thing for me, because that was my effect, and working directly with Lance and getting to know him, that was the first time I really got a chance to get to know him. I'd have to say those are some of my fondest memories. If you get a chance to ask him about getting sick, how I made him sick, that's an unfortunate part of the story, but because Lance was so gracious about it, basically it got down to some tainted milk that I grabbed off a tea trolley. Who knew, right? Anyway,
I've heard horror stories.
he was very, very good about it, and that's when I thought, this guy's awesome, and I think we've worked on 11 movies together now over our careers. I think in terms of the projects and how much I enjoy them or how difficult they are, how rewarding they are, a lot of it has to do with the situation, the circumstances that you're working in. Sometimes you can be doing great work and you don't even know it because the situation is kind of negative, or you're under the gun, or you don't get a lot of support from production. Those are the things that make it difficult. What is not difficult is when you walk into the perfect circumstances and your attitude is there, your team is behind you, you're excited about the project, and you know you can knock it out of the park. And that's how all projects should be. But I suppose probably one of the most difficult ones was Mortal Kombat, because we had only about 3 months to create an actual technical marvel. Goro was really an unprecedented kind of character, with the telemetry controls and motion control, all of that packed into basically slightly larger than human size. And I mean, Goro's head, in his eyes, his pupils could dilate. We went that far deep into it. And unfortunately, we didn't really have production support much on that. And so Goro became a sort of a pariah on set. And it actually had Tom and I believing that he was a failure. For years, we thought Goro was like a low point in our career because of the negativity of some of the people around us on production that were, kind of, unfairly blinded by their own circumstances. And it wasn't until Richard Taylor and Peter Jackson from Weta said that they found that when they were younger, they bought the VHS tape and watched the movie 90 times just for Goro, and that Goro was a seminal moment in animatronics. And when I heard Richard Taylor say that, I was like, vindication, you know. So it all depends on what you're, you know, movie making is a high pressure job, because there's literally millions of dollars at stake, and on a daily basis you can easily be spending $30,000 a day, even on a smaller movie, shooting, you know, all the expenses of shooting. So, you know, it's understandable why people react negatively, but taking the lesson from Stan, we just try to have a good time. We try to make a comfortable environment, and when that happens, it's magic. Yeah, ADI, Tom Woodruff and I founded it in 1988, I think, 87, I don't know. Right after we left Stan Winston's. I met Tom at Stan's. He was concentrating on directing after Pumpkinhead, you know, and we had done Aliens and Predator for Stan, Invaders from Mars. So we left, not with the intent to start our own studio, but we had written a script and it was getting some good buzz about it. And we thought, well, maybe now's the time for us to leave. Stan is going to downsize because he's only going to direct. He's not going to do effects for anybody else. That was what he said. And so Stan was very good about letting us go. And then I think within about 3 months, we realized that our script wasn't really going anywhere. And we were maybe a little naive. So we decided to buddy up and form a company. So yes, Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated was founded on a failure. And look what comes out of failure. Great things. So we've been going at it since then, and you know, we've got an Oscar for Death Becomes Her and a couple of nominations for Alien 3 and Starship Troopers, and we've been doing some X-Men movies and Predator movies and Alien versus Predator, and you know, working with a lot of great directors, and we've got now a team of people that we've had for 25, 20 years, and you know, there's basically high confidence at ADI that we can do anything. We can build anything. The other aspect of ADI is Studio ADI, and what Studio ADI is sort of our entertainment or our IP, as they say, intellectual properties. If you look at our YouTube channel, on our behind the scenes channel, it's Studio ADI's channel. What that means is that we are starting to create our own content, right? That is more catering directly to the fans of practical creature effects. We love the digital effects. There's a place for it, but we just don't want to see our art suppressed by studios. And big studios tend to favor CGI over practical effects, despite the fact that fans love it and it's less expensive. So what we're doing is we're trying to create entertainment that is based on practical creature effects. That's why we did a Kickstarter for our movie Harbinger Down. We raised money and did a very low budget homage to The Thing and Alien, and starred our buddy Lance Henriksen, and it's gotten worldwide release now. It's on Netflix, and we're happy that it's gotten that kind of exposure, so we want to build on that. Tom Woodruff did a movie called Fire City, again another low budget movie that utilized practical makeup effects. So we will be, in the near future, we're going to be mounting a social media campaign that basically includes the fans into the process, allows you to pre-purchase digital downloads of entertainment. Hopefully we're going to be getting some of our friends who are some known directors and known creature effects artists to direct some entertainment for the channel. But watch for it, support practical creature effects, and together we will create a revolution and keep the art alive.